to running Google Ads. And then 3 really important key factors when you're running Google Ads, and that includes keyword research, which is also relevant for SEO if you're optimizing your website, goal tracking, so making sure you're tracking your conversions or your primary goals, and landing pages. So just a little introduction. Just need to move you across. So I'm Vanessa Fullerton-Batten. I think I've met quite a few of you virtually online over the last few months. Nice to see some new faces. So I run VFB marketing based in Harpenden, Hertfordshire, and I set that up about 2.5 years ago after having my son and after 20 odd years in the corporate world, and had just had enough. So I set up a digital marketing consultancy specializing really in search engine marketing. So my world is everything search engines. So that's PPC or Google Ads, as well as SEO. So my mission really is to work with small business owners, because that's really small business where my passion really lies, who want to find, attract, and convert more of their ideal customers. So what I offer is a very flexible and affordable solution to small businesses. What I do is mainly a done-for-you service. So that's strategy and implementation, as well as training for SEO and PPC. Okay, so what exactly is it when we're talking about Google Ads? Now, it was launched quite a long time ago, 20 odd years ago, back in 2000 as Google AdWords. Since 2018, it's been renamed Google Ads. And basically, it's the paid for placements on Google instead of the non-paid organic placements, which are further down the page. So the paid for placements, it clearly says it's an ad. It's then normally at the top of the page or the bottom of the page, and they're quite clearly labeled. So if you're searching for a specific service or product, you will see the ads at the top, typically 3 or 4 placements and 3 or 4 at the bottom. So the organic placements are what you optimize your site for if you're doing any SEO. So those are what we call free placements, but they're not always free because you're investing a certain amount of time in doing SEO and optimizing your site. But basically what Google Ads is an auction-based platform. So you select the keywords that you want to bid on, and then you run your ads and you only pay per click. So you will only ever pay when someone clicks on your ad. So that can vary because you're competing with other companies who are advertising at the same time. You don't necessarily know what they're bidding. So you invariably will have to outbid them to appear at the top of the page. So the cost per click can vary massively from an average of £1 a click upwards. But the lower, obviously, you can get that cost per click down, the better. So what are the benefits to running Google Ads? Now, the benefits, a lot of businesses aren't really aware, small businesses especially aren't really that aware of Google Ads and how it works. And I think there's a lot of sort of misunderstanding of what you can do with it. But the main thing to take away is that for small businesses, it's ideal because it can get you in front of a larger audience. Sorry, a bit croaky. So it can get you in front of a larger audience that you might not get elsewhere. So if you're doing a lot of social media, then that's a set of audience that certain people might not necessarily be on social media. So there are a lot more people who might be searching your product or service on Google that you're missing out on. So there are 3.5 billion searches per day on Google. So that's a huge amount of people who are active on Google every day. And 93% of online experiences begin with a search engine. So if you're not taking advantage of that audience, then you're missing out, because there will invariably be people who are searching for your product or your service. And the beauty of it is that you can reach those people locally. So if you're a small business and you just wanted to reach people in Hertfordshire, for example, or a particular town, then you can just target those people locally. So it's a great way to get in front of people who are actively searching for your product or service. And they're typically, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on, but they're typically people who are ready to buy. So why would you go to a search engine? You might be looking, as I said, for a specific service or product. You might be looking for information. Now with Google Ads, you would try and target the people who are actually looking to buy. So these are called transactional keywords. So these would be closely related to what you offer. So you wouldn't be bidding on terms like how to take a photograph, for example. So you are looking for people who are ready to buy, and you get them to your website and convert. So the first really important factor that I'm going to talk about is something called keyword research, which you might have heard about before, and I've just touched on. So what I'd like to do actually, and I know Carly, you said this might be a little bit difficult with on Zoom, but what I'd like to do is ask you to have a think about the sort of keywords that are closely related to your business. And then after this slide, I'm going to go into Google Ads. And if you can post, so have a think about the keywords that are closely related to your business and pop them in the chat. And Carly, if that's okay, could you select one or two keywords at the end of this, and then I'll go into Google Ads and we can do some keyword research based on the keywords that people have suggested. Is that okay? Great. So what you want to do is have a think about the keywords that are really close. So if you are a photographer, you would think about any keywords that are really closely related to what you do, as well as your key services. So I work with a lot of clients who might want to just promote one particular service or just a number of products, so they don't spread themselves too thin. So have a think about anything really closely related. What are your key products? What locations would you want to focus on? And then keep it quite broad. So when I say keep it quite broad, if you're a photographer but you specialize in brand photography, then brand photography would be more suitable, but it's still quite broad. So you need keywords that have enough search volume, because if you go for really long phrases, then there might not be enough search volume and you won't get a lot of traffic to your website. And also, as I said before, focus on transactional keywords. So people who are ready to buy might search for something near them. That's a really popular keyword. So it could be wedding photographer near me. And then we'll talk about using the right match types as well. So let me just pop over to this. Right, so this is now, can you see this screen hopefully? So this is the back end of Google Ads. So when you set up an account, this is what you'll see. So you would, to do the keyword research, you would go into the tools and settings tab here, and then you go across to the keyword planner. So that's where you would start with all your keyword research. So you can actually, when you're doing SEO, you can actually use this to do some of your keyword research without paying for the ads. So you could actually set up an account like this and use the keyword planner without actually running any ads. So it's just setting up a dummy account, but it will ask for your billing details and things like that. Just be aware of that. So I go into here. So Carly, could you please give me one or two keywords?
Right, so I'm going to go with vegan meal delivery.
Vegan meal delivery.
And so that's for one. And oh, so do you want them for the same business or?
Let's stick with that one for now. So I'm just going to
Oh, yeah,
this one.
Vegan meal delivery and plant-based nutrition.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So what I would do then, you can also change the location here. So you could, for example, go in and look up Hertfordshire, if that's where you're targeting, or specific cities. Just make sure you don't choose America. So I'm going to leave it UK wide. And then you just click on get results. And this will bring up lots and lots of, so here are your seed keywords. So these are the ones that we were looking at put into the generator. So here are the monthly searches, so the average monthly searches for that keyword, and the amount of competition for advertising. And then this is how much you would you'd be expecting to pay for a cost per click to appear at the top of the page. Now these are just estimates, so you don't necessarily have to worry about this initially. It's just a guide. So here it comes up with lots and lots of different keyword ideas, but vegan meal delivery, and this obviously is for the whole of the UK, has 1 to 10,000 searches on average per month. So that's a lot. So you would probably want to narrow that down to a specific location. But it comes up with loads and loads of additional ideas. So vegan food delivery, rather than vegan meal delivery, which is 1 to 10,000. This one has slightly less searches. Beyond Burger Nutrition, that might be a brand. But this just gives you an idea of all the different keywords that you could be bidding on. What I'd normally do is actually work offline, probably using a spreadsheet to begin with, just to make a note of all the keywords that you want to add to your plan. And then you're able to map them out a little bit more efficiently, because this throws up so many different ideas. Whereas if you put them into a spreadsheet, that will just help you sort them properly into themes, and then they can be added to ad groups. So you can select a keyword from here and you can add it to a campaign. And this is where I briefly mentioned match type. And the only reason I mention this is because a lot of people end up spending a lot of money on just bidding on broad match. And broad match is basically bringing in lots of different types of search queries related to that keyword. So it could be bringing in just vegan meals, or vegan meal delivery in a different location that you don't necessarily want. So it can bring in lots of different other additional keywords because it's set to a broad match. So you can waste a lot of clicks on people that just aren't relevant. So what you ideally want to do is not run it on broad match, but on phrase or exact match. And there's also something called broad match modifier, which is more targeted. So that's just one to be aware of, so you're not wasting your budget. So do you want to give me another one, Carly, just quickly? We've got time.
Yeah, okay. So so cat sitting and cat care.
Cat sitting and cat care.
Yeah.
Okay, again, this is UK wide. So there's a very large number of searches again. You will get more specific numbers. It's just I haven't got, this is my dummy account, so I haven't got any ads running at the moment. Otherwise, so if you have got ads running, it will give you more specific numbers here. So these are just ranges of from sort of 0 to 10, 10 to 100, etc. But it gives you good indication. So 1 to 10,000 for cat sitting. Again, you'd want to narrow that down, and you'd want to put in a specific location. So if we add in Hertfordshire, that will bring it down massively. So it's still 100 to 1,000, and cat care is 10 to 100. So you can see the volume is decent, and obviously you wouldn't just bid on one term. You would bid on several keywords. So you would add all the keywords that you want that are relevant to you to an ad group. and that's how you would set it up. So that's how you would do the keyword research. And I'm going to go back to the presentation now. But as I said, that really helps with SEO as well and optimizing your website for specific search terms. So the longer tail ones, or the more informational, so people are just looking for information type keywords or phrases are really important to optimize your website for. So that tool is brilliant for SEO as well. So the next one is goal tracking. And again, extremely important to make sure if you're spending a certain amount of money every single month, and I would say if you're starting out that you would want to spend at least £5 to £10 per day on your ads, on your campaigns. I'm really sorry, I've got a really bad throat today. Right. So you want to make sure that if you're investing a certain amount of your budget, that you can track that, because ultimately, if you don't track your goals, you won't know what's working and what's not working. So you could just be spending without understanding really what it's delivering. So what are you getting in return? So luckily, Google Ads are completely measurable. So it's something, again, that you can set up in the back end, and then a little bit of code that you need to add to your site to just make sure that you're tracking your primary goal. So your primary goal could be an inquiry, it could be a sale. Those are the two main ones. And the way that you can track it is you can track form completions, for example. So you know exactly how many people have completed that form or submitted that form, and sales. So you know exactly how much revenue you're getting through those ads. And you can drill this down to keyword level. So you can say this keyword is driving this number of inquiries or this number of sales. So it's a brilliant way of being able to scale your activity up or down, because you know exactly what is working and what isn't. So if there's a particular keyword that's doing really, really well, you might want to spend more on that. You might want to separate that out into a different ad group and increase your spend and monitor that more closely that way. Again, if a keyword isn't working, then you pause that keyword. So you have to, when you're running Google Ads, you have to keep monitoring it and you have to keep optimizing it. So you don't just set up once and then just leave it. So just to finish off, I'm going to touch on landing pages. So when you're running Google Ads and you're bidding on specific keywords that we've talked about already, you want to make sure that the user experience is completely seamless. So the keyword is incorporated in your ad copy, so your ad itself. So someone's searching for a wedding photographer, you want to talk about wedding photography in your ad. And then when you get to the landing page, you want to make sure that that landing page also matches the search query, so that people, so that you meet people's expectations, and you're not landing them on a page that where there's a mismatch. So a lot of people and businesses aren't necessarily aware of this, and they might land someone on the homepage. And on the homepage, you've got so much information. You've got navigation that takes them off all over the place that they get lost and they don't know what you want them to do next. So your conversion rate will drop. So the landing page is really important to make sure it matches the user's expectations. So the landing page needs to be very concise. It's different to any other page really on your website. And normally you would create a new landing page for your campaigns, or several landing pages for your campaigns. So the landing page is different insofar that it's very concise. It should have a really clear message at the top and a really strong call to action. So you're telling people enough, but you're trying to get them to basically convert to your inquiry or to sale. So the call to action, or CTA, should be above the fold. So that's the top half of the screen, so they don't have to scroll down. So the best thing to do is think about, so the keyword they're coming in on, so you make sure you're reflecting that, and that there's not too much clutter on that page, and that you're also making the copy really enticing. So you have to have very persuasive copy. So bring your brand to life. Tell people what you offer. Make that really crystal clear what you offer, who you're speaking to, what's in it for them. Don't just list a number of benefits or features. It should be, what is in it for them? How can you help them? And make it visually appealing. So people love images, and if possible, put in a video. So images of people work particularly well. And include social proof. This is really important to build trust. So if people haven't necessarily heard of you before, that they understand who you are, that other people trust you. So that could be things like reviews or testimonials, star ratings, Facebook reviews, that sort of thing. And always, and obviously with any website that you're creating or that you've already got, to make sure that it's mobile friendly, because for SEO that's very important, but also for Google Ads, because if it's not mobile friendly, you will get people bounce very quickly and leave that page. So if it loads really slowly, people will leave that page very, very quickly. So those are my main points. I've just put in some landing pages here just to have a quick look at, because they are very, very, they're very short and concise, and you can add more copy to further down the page. But what I was talking about here was the headline, making the headline really clear, making the subheading really clear, and then the button, which is the call to action. You're telling people what to do next. So Nigella Lawson, everyone knows Spotify, everyone knows Slack. So these are pages where it's just immediately obvious what you want people to do, and you're telling them what you're about and how you can help them. So those were just some examples, and that wraps it up for today. So thank you very much for listening. And just to say that I'm offering some Google Ads training. So this will talk you through how to set up a campaign in a lot more detail. So it's a 90-minute Zoom session, 22nd of November, and it's reduced to £45 until the end of this month. So then it goes up to £99 after that. So are there any questions?
No, I think thank you so much for sharing those tips. So if anybody is interested in booking on the course, can you pop the information for that was on your last slide there on the chat, please, Vanessa?
Yes,
Thank you.